Okay, Linda, your daughter is now an adult, but was first identified with specific language impairment many years ago. What are things that you wish you'd known earlier?
Lots of things I wish I'd known earlier. Knowing that you're not on your own, meeting other parents and hearing their tales, their journeys, and sharing experiences, or looking at what other options that might be available to you, whether it's different provisions or different techniques or things that you can do with your children. I think also perhaps not being too far thinking. We were always worried about the next step. What next? And I think that you can only see so far, because it may not turn out how you predict. It's such a strange condition, if you like, that it moves and changes over time. And whilst one area seems to resolve itself with the support from professionals, another thing might rise to be the bigger issue at that time, and you can't necessarily predict how that's going to turn out.
Did you used to lie in bed worrying at night about the future for Robbie?
Yes, I think what we worried about mostly was perhaps social isolation, the ability to make and maintain friends. I think that worried us, and in fact that's not borne out at all. She's sociable, she's got lots of friends, and she's very, very humorous. Also, we spent a little bit of extra nervous energy worrying about, well, why has this happened? And in fact, that was exhausting and unnecessary, because even if we'd known or did find out what and how this had presented itself, we wouldn't have. The treatment wouldn't have been different, or the intervention wouldn't have been different. We would have been better just planning what to do to sort it out.
Some parents I know feel obscurely guilty. Did you ever feel guilty about things? No. Good.
I think the only thing I felt not guilty about, but frustrated, I think, about was not being able to perhaps find the exact right matching services.
Yeah.
Because they don't exist.
Yes.
So that's quite frustrating. These kids don't fit into neat little packages.
So what advice would you give to a parent who's worried about their child's language development and the child is perhaps still quite young, 3 or 4?
I think the first thing to do is try to isolate what it is by gathering information, keeping a note in a diary, a visual, anything that sort of reminds you of what they're doing that maybe seems of use or of interest, to find a good GP who will listen to you, to make sure you see a therapist if that's the next thing that you need to do to get a picture of what's going on, an education psychologist to get a broader picture if necessary. But actually we have a very good helpline at Afasic, which I used in the early days as a sounding board to make sure I hadn't missed anything. And they will be very patient, and many of them are parents themselves, so will have had similar experiences to you.
So when you say a sounding board, do you mean, how do you mean that?
Well, it's checking out, am I right to be worried? How many single words, should I be worried? Who should I speak to? What services are out there? What are the questions I should be asking? All those things in a safe environment. You can test them out. If you're anxious, no parent is going to be anxious unnecessarily about their child's difficulty with either learning to read or language learning. If there's something that somehow sits like a lump in your throat and you feel sort of twirls in your tummy, there's always a reason why. You're not going to be that concerned for no reason. It is down to professionals to make you feel comfortable articulating that and listening to you. They really need to listen to you. If all is well, and they can persuade you all is well, and they can demonstrate that your child has made progress, that's absolutely fine. But I would still say keep a marker down. If you're anxious, you're anxious.
Right. Did you always feel that you could make sense of what professionals were saying to you?
Often professionals use different terminology, different phrasing, different language than perhaps you're used to. And it's absolutely fine to say, hang on a second, I don't understand what that means, how does that work? And feel confident doing that. and they should be able to give you sufficient time or point you to the direction of somewhere else that can give you the clear information. But I do think it's terribly important to prepare yourself for the questions you'd like to ask them, and think very hard about what it is you want out of your meeting. The more knowledge you can gather as a parent, the better you're able to support your child. So the better you understand the difficulties your child is having, the more empowered you are to support them, which means when you're with professionals, you need to be really asking probing questions and feel confident that you should be able to ask those questions. If they don't have the answer, that's fine too. They should be able to say, we don't know. But they also should be able to signpost you to where you might find the answers, or there may be no answers to some of the questions that you're answering, and you may need to feel confident about testing that out as well. I think it's about building relationships with the professionals who are working with you and your children, and being able to go back, because you won't necessarily remember everything you're told in one shot. You may need a series of questions. Again, that is why meeting other parents and contacting a helpline like Afasic can help you unravel and unpack more information about these difficulties. So don't stop until you understand what they're giving you. Really, you will learn as you go, and don't think you're going to learn it all at once. You won't.
Yes.
It takes many, many years to really get to grips, and then heavens above, the picture might change, so you need to change and learn alongside that at the same time. It's never too late. If you pick up that your child has difficulty later on, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't approach it in the same way where you're gathering information, learning what you can do. Nobody's expecting you to be a teacher or a therapist, nor should you expect to be that, but you should be able to support your child with activities that are fun and integrate into your day in a normal way. You don't want to be hot-housing your kids. You want to be doing things that are fun. And lots of things you can do with your children can be fun.